Questions. Do you have questions that you haven't gotten the answers to? Are you somebody who asks more challenging questions and, maybe through the years you kind of felt like you were either disturbing the peace or you couldn't ask questions? Like, this is an example. I feel like through the years people got so annoyed with me because in like youth groups, even like to my own parents, to all different types of pastors, because I've been around. I've made my rounds, folks. I've been through a lot of different churches. I've met a lot of different people. I've listened to many, many different leaders throughout the years obsessively, like my only train of thought. Like when everybody else was listening to music and everybody else was watching movies and stuff, I was watching some like boring old guy doing a lecture, right? And we're going to talk about this a little bit today. And for those of you who are listening, I do have a couple visual aids, and I will do my best to explain them. Because if I'm honest, even if I'm watching a video, it helps if somebody explains to me what I'm even looking at. Because sometimes our brains can be like disconnected a little bit from our bodies and our experience because we're so overloaded in our brains. So hello. Hi, my name is Missy Gordons, the Metamystic here. Welcome to episode 2. This is all about questioning. Do you have questions that you haven't been able to answer, or you don't even know what questions to ask? You just know you have them? Today we're going to be talking about that. I want to start off by saying, if I haven't already said enough already, it's okay to ask questions. I want to make that very clear to you. It is okay to ask questions. When I was 2 years old, I remember obsessively thinking about what is forever, thinking about eternity, hearing that concept of eternity in church or on one of those Jesus cartoons. I grew up going to my Gram's house, and I forget what the series was, but it was a series of cartoons, and they were like Jesus cartoons. Let me know in the comments if you guys know what I'm talking about. And I just remember watching those, sleeping over my Gram's house, and just having all of these deep theological questions as like a 5-year-old kid, and not knowing how to process those. So that's what we're starting off with today. It is okay to ask questions. And if anybody through the years in church has made you feel like it's not okay to ask questions, it's not you, it's them. And with all due respect, because even though I'm in the position that I'm in where, I guess I've left the church. Here I am again, kind of talking in this context. I'm back. I'm making my rounds. I'm coming back around, everybody. But in all seriousness, if anybody has made you feel like you can't ask questions, that's really just because they don't know the answers. And you know what? That's okay too. We should look for the answers together. So ask, think, use your brain, right? And I'm not saying you're not using your brain. I'm saying that we have been taught, low-key taught, to not use our brains, okay? And it's subliminal. It's like a shh. We don't talk about that here. We don't talk about that. We believe, these are our beliefs. This is our belief system. We believe Jesus died on the cross for our sins. We believe that he died and rose again and was resurrected. And if you believe on Jesus, then if you say that special magic prayer, Jesus, come into my heart, you will go to heaven. We believe in hell. We believe in communion. We believe, and I'm not saying that those aren't wonderful points, right, to have, belief systems, bullet points, moral values. I believe in a lot of that still, even though it's been quite a year. It's been more than a year. It's been like a year and a half that I have been literally questioning every possible thing in the book. Right? But let's be real. I'm somebody who has always questioned everything in the book. I have spent years and years and years and years trying to decipher the words in that Bible. I've never been satisfied with the answers that I was given. You know how Jesus said to the disciples, he said, there's so many things, and I'm paraphrasing here. There's so many things that I wish I could tell you, but you can't bear it now. And that scripture, that stuck in my chest like an arrow to the heart, that if you remove the arrow, you're going to bleed out. It's I don't know why I'm using that as an example. It's kind of a gruesome imagery, but it's like it was an arrow that I needed to keep with me. The knowing, the understanding, the possibility that there's much more behind the curtain, behind the veil than we thought. Think Wizard of Oz, right? So that brings me to this Hierophant imagery here. And for those who are listening, I'm holding up a traditional Rider-Waite tarot card. It is number 5. It's the Hierophant. And who is the Hierophant? He is the connection between heaven and earth, right? You could look at this guy as a minister, as a pope, as a spiritual leader. This doesn't have to be only in Christianity. This can be a spiritual guru of some kind. This can be a Buddhist leader of some kind. There are 2 older bald men, right, looking up to this Hierophant who is kind of placed on a bit of a throne here with a big old crown, right? And there's these 2 guys, and there's 2 keys in between them. They look at this pope, this minister, this Hierophant, this high priest. The word Hierophant just means high priest. And we talk about, Paul talked about that we're all priests of the Most High God. So Jesus came to break this paradigm. Jesus didn't like this paradigm, the middleman thing. Jesus came to break that, excuse my French, to break that shit apart. And we're still doing it today. Right? We're still doing it. We still believe that we have to go to a middleman to get to God when we don't. But this is what I want. This is my point. This is what I want to say. You're allowed to ask questions. If we look at this imagery, it's a stuffy environment, right? This is an old-fashioned imagery on the Rider-Waite. This is over 100 years old, this imagery here. There are 2 bald men, these like monk-type characters, looking up to the big monk guy, basically, who has all the answers, who has the connection to the divine, and they're learning from him, right? You could look at these as his disciples, like Jesus had the 12 disciples. This is having disciples here. Now, this is my point. This environment that it's showing, this is kind of like being in a cathedral. It's very royal. It's very, it's like you can hear a pin drop. It's very, I don't want to say conservative, but it feels, imagine laughing in church. You're going to get kicked out. It's that sort of vibe. You don't go laugh. Children running through here, this environment, this synagogue, this cathedral. Think of like a cathedral, like an old, beautiful architecture cathedral with stained glass. And if you had a couple kids running through here making fart noises, laughing, they got popsicle all over their face, their tongue is blue, they're running through the place, and they're coming up to this character here, asking questions a mile a minute. What is forever? Where do I go when I die? What does this mean? Who was I before? Who made God? Right, all these things. It's just this environment, the way that it's shown here in this imagery, and for those listening, it's everything that I described. It's this feeling of, you don't want to make too many sudden movements, too much noise. We need to respect the environment here. We don't just ask questions like that. You're in the presence of quote unquote the presence of God. You're in front of royalty. Don't make any sudden movements. You might get your head chopped off, and that's just the way it feels, right? Now, this is my point. it makes it scary to ask questions in that kind of environment. And even if we're at some hip church today, right, with all of our lights and our smoke machines and our cool hip pastor, right, with wearing his Jordans and, you know, his untucked shirt and, you know, his shaved side of his head with his Pidgeotto hair, love and light. I love you guys. I'm just saying, even if that's the case, that vibe is still in the atmosphere of this old system where, you know, we don't ask questions like that. You know, we do have to have a level of respect here, okay? We don't just go asking questions about hell. You know, God's ways are above our ways. This was my huge thing about hell. I tried, years ago, I read a book from Francis Chan. It was kind of a rebuttal against Rob Bell's book, Love Wins. Rob Bell started coming out years ago with his radical thoughts, right, about universalism. And of course, and I loved Francis Chan, and I still love him today. I think he's a powerful minister who truly does love God and loves people and is devoted. But anyways, he had kind of a rebuttal book to Rob Bell's book. And years ago, I started questioning the concept of hell, right? Because I had this vision. I was 14 years old. I was kneeling down at 3 a.m. in my room, shaking, shivering, crying, and my body was transported to this scenery. And I looked up into the sky, and the sky was fire. And I looked down around me, and there were people in chains, and people were like gnawing their hands off and shit. It was like very macabre, right? It was very like Saw movies vibe, what I was seeing there. And I came out of that trance and I was like, I need to become an evangelist. I don't want anybody to go there. I had that imagery of hell. And so I started studying hell, right? It scared me to ask these questions. I was asking these questions about hell and about the afterlife. And I was like a teen while all my friends were like smoking pot and like, you know, getting to second base, or probably more than that. Because for me, coming from purity culture, I'm like, second base, right? Oh my God. But anyways, that's for another episode. We'll talk about purity culture in another episode. But my point is that I was, in my room, like shaking under the quote unquote presence of God, trying to figure out what the hell was, right? What the hell's hell all about, right, folks? So this is my point. Let's go back around, Melissa. You're going too far. Just come, pull it back, friend. Okay, we're back. Sometimes I find it hard to even focus my thoughts on some of this stuff because I've traveled so far away from some of these things since I was a minister. I've gone into such deeper mysteries and truths about all sorts of things, studying Dolores Cannon and stuff like that, that at this point I'm just like, the stuff we're talking about today feels a little bit almost like, I don't want to say unimportant, but I feel like it's important to go through this metamorphosis together, to talk through the process of deconstruction. That's why I'm showing you these clips of myself from my deconstruction process, and I'm going to be showing another clip at the end of this video, along with a song called What If that I wrote for my Ferris Wheel album that I put out, I believe, in July 2021. So I'm going to be singing this song at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. Just because, and it's called What If, right? I had this series of amusement park dreams, and at the time of the clips that I'm about to show you, I was actually releasing this Ferris Wheel album, so I thought it was also kind of fitting. But let's cycle back around. My point about hell and everything, I didn't feel like I could ask questions, and the best answer that I came up with, and I started using it for my own sanity, was the scripture that states God's ways are above our ways, his thoughts are above our thoughts. We can't fully, and even Francis Chan wrote this in his book, I believe, or at least I heard him speak about it many times, when we talk about hell and things like that. And I respect Francis Chan. I just want to make that clear. But I do respectfully disagree now with those viewpoints on hell. With that said, it's okay to ask questions, and an answer to why would a loving God throw people into an eternal conscious, you're aware, torment, biting off your hand, burning in the flames. There's no hope, there's no water, there's no deliverance. I'm stuck here forever in eternity. Just because I wanted to watch the L Word in my past life, I'm stuck here burning forever, because I wanted to have a little fun. I wanted to go to the football game, so I'm burning here forever. Help me, burning forever. It's like, okay, let's cycle back around. I want to show you another Hierophant card, because this Hierophant card that I'm about to show you, and once again I will explain it for my listeners. Watch me on YouTube though, because I'll be making weird facial expressions and stuff on here, so it's worth watching. But for those who are listening, I love that too. I respect that too. Listen to me in your car while you're folding laundry. I'm manifesting that. Do your thing. I'm going to have a successful podcast. Manifestation. Jesus. Let's cycle back around to Jesus. Jesus was a Hierophant type character, okay? Jesus was a physical representation of the physical God, correct? According to Christian belief. So what Jesus' mission was to come to, let's just sum it up quick, to fuck shit up, to fuck the system up, all right, to shake things up. Excuse my French. If people are offended by that, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I really am not, because this is just what it is. Let's just get to the point. Jesus came for that reason, okay? He said that. He said, I didn't come to get rid of the laws. I came to fulfill them. I came to show you the point, essentially. Okay. And so this Hierophant card with this stuffy, we have to go to a go-between. I'm not saying that we don't learn from mentors. That's not what this represents. It's a feeling of we can't ask questions because we're just these little worms in the dirt that don't know anything, and God is so far above us that he sends people to burn for eternity in hell, because they overate Cheetos and they're considered gluttons according to the law. It's like they're burning in hell forever because they ate too many hot Cheetos, right? That just they're burning in hell forever because their mom was like a new age crystal lover, right? Who was a wonderful woman and everybody loved her. I mean, she's way nicer than the ladies at church, right? She's this cool bohemian mom, right? And then because she taught her children to believe what they wanted to believe, what, those kids are going to burn in hell now? Hey, love and light, but that woman that I just described is way freaking more holy than a lot of other people that are in the quote-unquote church, all right? And I've been around, and I've seen a lot of people. I've known a lot of people, all right? I will close on this point, and then we're going to get to the clip, because I want to show you this journey. I want to physically show you. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, I did not plan on showing any of this footage. I have filmed video diaries of myself for 10 years. That's just a way that I process stuff. So, they're not going to be pretty, folks, anyways, but this is the Hierophant card I want to show you. And I'm going to explain it the best I can to my listeners. Instead of the two bald disciples in front of the royal Hierophant, in this Hierophant card, this is the steampunk tarot deck. And I love this deck. It's a cool vibe if you're interested. I'll link it down below if you want to get it. So this Hierophant is, he looks more like a grandfather. And there are two children sitting on the ground looking up at him. There's a little girl that is holding a piece of paper with a pen, and she's taking notes. And next to this Hierophant, there are a stack of books, and he's holding an apple in his hand, right? This is a teacher. This, to me, is a beautiful representation of what it's like to talk to Jesus, okay? If we're going to talk Jesus, if we're going to talk Christianity, this is more of a representation of what it's like to be around Jesus. Jesus loved the children. The children came and sat on his lap. You know, I can picture Jesus like joking around with the kids. And I mean, kids, let's get real. If a kid doesn't like somebody or they feel uncomfortable by somebody, they're going to kind of hide behind their mom's leg. They're not going to be open. They're not going to be laughing. They're certainly not going to be sitting with a pen and paper in front of the guy. They're going to kind of just shy away. You know, kids can read energy very, very well. You know, so, but in this Hierophant, they're outside. It's like when we were kids. It's a beautiful, bright, sunny day. They're sitting next to an old oak tree, right? They're sitting. The kids are sitting on the ground. The Hierophant is just lovingly teaching the children everything that he's gleaned from his life. It's a beautiful scene. This is like when we're in school as children and the teacher's like, we're going outside today, kids. And everybody's like, yeah. They love this Hierophant. They love to learn from him. They can ask him any question they want. And when a child comes up with, 10 questions and they're talking a mile a minute, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? This older grandfatherly type Hierophant just gently strokes his beard with a slight smirk, and he says, oh, let's explore that together. What do you think? See how Jesus, if you'll notice through the writings, he responds to people with a question many times. That's a beautiful teacher. And this Hierophant that I'm showing here, this is more of the Jesus paradigm, right? The real Jesus, the ascended master, the one who still exists in the spiritual dimensions today, is welcoming the questions that you have. He's not turning you away. He wants you to ask these questions. He wants to help you explore the deeper realms and help you process through some of these things. He's a beautiful, loving teacher who desires for you to know what's behind the veil. And he slowly brings us along the path with more and more information. It's only religion that tries to stop us from knowing too much, because that would mean that their control would be slipping from their hands, and, why would we need them anymore, right? If we could just go directly to the source. If you don't like to term God as God, term it as source. The consciousness that has existed before we've all existed, the consciousness that we came from, that connects us all together, that makes us one. Who is this God, this source, this divine? People call it, him, them, the divine. Who is this divine? Well, Jesus came to help reveal that. It's good for us to ask questions. So I encourage that. All right, my friends, with all of that said, I'm going to add a clip here from my deconstruction process. This is dating back to 2021. And then at the end of this video, I would love to share my song What If with you guys. I'm going to play it for you. And it comes from my album, once again, Ferris Wheel. That's already been out since 2021. So if you want to look up the other songs, it was just a 4-song EP. You can find it really anywhere you get music. It's distributed everywhere, but you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Music, etc. So much love, my friends. It's been Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here. I hope you enjoy this clip, and I hope it helps you maybe process through a few of your own thoughts. And let's just ask questions. It's safe to ask questions. Okay, so let's just take a deep breath together. No, in all seriousness, like, let's take a breath together. In. Out. One more. In. Out. This is a safe space. This is a safe space to ask questions. It's safe in the presence of God, the presence of the divine, the presence of the source. It's the oasis, it's the hope, it's the beauty of holiness from the Psalms. Or maybe that's Isaiah. It's throughout. Let's just let ourselves have that childlike wonder again and know that it's safe to ask questions and it's safe to explore, right? This is a beautiful life, and there are so many mysteries to understand and to explore together. So let's explore those and let ourselves. Much love, my friends. Been Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here, and without further ado, here is a clip from my deconstruction process. Bye. June 19th, 2021. Someone left a comment on my Ferris Wheel EP promo video on my Missy Gordon YouTube channel, and she said, "I can't wait for you to come back refreshed." And I thought to myself, I'm never coming back. That was a scary and liberating thought. But is it fully true? Am I deconstructing deeper than I thought? Will I no longer be in ministry ever again? What will become of me? Will I become something else entirely? Am I in danger of losing my faith if I go too far? Or will I only be faced with a deeper truth? Will this journey of deconstruction lead me exactly where I need to go? Is this the only way I will ever be who I'm really meant to be? To be continued. I was watching back through some of the things that I was saying about deconstruction, and now that I've just been obsessively watching every video I can on deconstruction, in a few days I feel like I went through this really intense thing. I feel like I went through this dark tunnel, this dark, scary tunnel where all these different things were I was aware of everything. I'm on this new journey and it feels really good and really exciting, but at the same time, I've literally just found myself staring at the wall, and this morning, I literally couldn't talk. I felt like I actually lost my voice. I just started to think about everything, and I honestly let myself go there. Because 10 years ago, or maybe even more, I let myself go here. And then, I continued with my belief in Jesus. But I let myself go here last night. I was like, is Jesus even real? Is any of this real? Or is it quantum physics, the reason why people are healed? When I'm sitting and praying in tongues, is it because meditation is good for your body, it's good for your brain. Is it possible that, it's just this reaction that's happening, all these visions and dreams I have? I mean, I'm a creative person, I'm an imaginative person. Maybe it's just the way I'm perceiving it. Maybe all the times I've thought that was the voice of the Holy Spirit to me, it was just my own inner voice being encouraging to myself and saying the things that my mind wouldn't even say. And I was just letting myself think through this stuff. I was like, you know what? What if Adam and Eve is an allegory? What if there wasn't a virgin birth? What if all those people who are like Hindus aren't going to hell? What if their belief in the God that they perceive to be God? What if I'm perceiving my God, they're perceiving their God, and we're all wrong? You know, what if there is a God and we're all reaching toward that in our own way? Because we all come from different cultures and different backgrounds and stuff. And I'm like, what if there's not even a hell, you know? Or what if God is reconciling all of us to himself in the end, and it's more of like a final judgment thing where people will have time to like work it out. And I remember that part in Revelation. This is the hell stuff. To me, it's the hell stuff. It's like, what if Rob Bell is right about universalism? And then you read in the book of Revelation that long after the judgment, you know, after the beast and after all that, then there's the 1,000 years where there are people outside of the city in the new world. And it says like the gates will never be shut. And I've never let myself really go here before. When people talk about eternal conscious torment, why wouldn't it just be a nihilism where people just don't exist anymore? Why would God throw these people into this eternal conscious torment when all they did was just make the wrong decision? You know, we're kind of dumb. And we only have a certain amount of years while we're here. And I mean, they didn't say we're dumb. I'm saying that. I'm saying it about myself. Like, I could just have my perception totally wrong. I just grew up with this family that believed this thing, and I grew up in America. I didn't grow up in India. You know, what if I grew up in India? Would I follow their religion? Would I have found Jesus still? You know, are we destined to find him? Or I've had moments of like intense panic as I've been thinking through it. And that's why I started this video off with like this imagery of going through this dark cave, and there's all these like bright lights and loud noises, and like things are coming at me and I don't know what's going on, but I know that I have to walk through this and I have to process this and come out the other side. The stuff I've been so sure about, I'm starting to realize like, wait, maybe some of this stuff is a little more open-ended than I thought. What if there are 3 views of hell? You know, there's a nihilism where people just cease to exist. Then there is, you know, eternal conscious torment, that all these people will be thrown into hell and burned to death forever because of their poor decisions in this life. And then number 3, that everybody will end up in heaven. Everybody will be reconciled to Jesus in the end, and that when Jesus died on the cross, it was once for all, you know. And I've played with that a little bit, but I've never let myself truly go there on some of this stuff. It scares me to go deeper into it, but at the same time, I'm like, I should be able to look around. I'm not trying to doubt God. I'm trying to know him more, the real him, I'm trying to find the truth. I think about certain things like, I don't believe what the majority of people believe on lots of stuff. The majority believes this thing, but then there's this small group that does this or does it differently, or, you know, people who live in tiny homes and people who live van life, you know, that's alternative, that's different, but it works for a lot of people. It's like, I've always been alternative, so I'm like, if I'm that way in all the other ways, is it possible? Is it even a little bit possible that there could be other perceptions, things like the rapture and believing in pre-trib and post-trib? Those are quote-unquote secondary issues. We don't believe that you're going to go to hell if you believed the wrong thing. You know, if you believed in pre-trib and I believed in post-trib and we were both wrong, it doesn't mean we're going to go to hell because we believe in Jesus and we're going to heaven, right? But then it's like, wait, so if we don't have to like agree on all that stuff, I'm just in a spot in my life where I'm ready to just be fully me. I can actually like fully think without judgment and not be afraid to like go there, because I want to know. And even if I never know the truth, you know, even if I'm never sure about any of this stuff, it's not even like I need to find out which version of hell is correct. I need to figure out if evolution actually happened, or if it was what I've been taught about young earth, and do I believe in the rapture, and what do I believe about other people and other faiths, and is the Bible the inherent word of God, or is it a book written by people that we can take things from? You know, I do want to come to a new level in myself of where I stand on all that. That's gonna take a while. I'm gonna have to read more books, watch more videos, give myself time to process, but I need to deconstruct my faith and think about, like, what do I really believe? But I also, and maybe even more importantly, need to deconstruct myself and my identity, because I have had this darkness in me. I just felt dirty and wrong, and like I was wrong. Me, not like my actions were wrong, like I was wrong. That there was this darkness in me, that I was dirty and wrong since I was like 6 years old. I'm also like thinking all these alternative things about all these different things that don't line up with the church, and I'm like, wow, now I'm really wrong and sinful and wrong. And it kept like growing. And all the while, I'm like giving my life for Jesus, and like just staying up until the middle of the night reading all these books about miracles and signs and wonders and the revivals, and wanting to just be this minister that changed the world, right? I feel called to this journey, and I wanted to make sure that I had it on record what I was like thinking and going through on June 19th, 2021. So I think that's about good. This is What If. Sitting on the balcony at night, drawing lines between the stars, mapping out the road ahead, questioning the plan. What if I missed something when I was looking somewhere else? What if I misinterpreted what you said to me? Sometimes I get overzealous, sometimes I get tired. I know you won't ever hold it, 'cause you know I tried. When you move ahead with me, everything has already been thought through. Your mistakes accounted for too. What if I missed something when I was looking somewhere else? What if I misinterpreted what was on my shelf? What if I mess it up? What if I mess it up? What if I'm scared? Will it still come to pass if there's chaos in my head? Heart to head, head to heart. Why does 18 inches feel so far What if I missed something when I was looking somewhere else? What if I misinterpreted the dreams I dreamt? What if I lose it all? What if I fail? What if I should have stayed put, but instead set sail? Then I remembered what you said to me on the balcony. When you move ahead with me, everything has already been thought through. Your mistakes accounted for too. Thank you, friends. It's been Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here, and I will see you on the next episode.